Hi, I'm Manna.
Hi, I'm Leah.
We're House of 73.
And you're listening to Culture Study.
Hello, everybody. My name is Umar Issa, and welcome to Culture Study. I'm so excited to be joined by my very inspiring and honestly hilarious friends, Manna and Leah of the House of 73. Long before they became a duo, Manna and Leah both started their creative journeys as models, and they each have over 10 years of experience in the industry. While they both have their own unique styles and creative expression, Leah and Manna have managed to effortlessly blend their energies to create a signature House of 73 vibe that's honestly taking the fashion and music scenes by storm. I had so much fun working on this episode, and it really reminded me about the importance of finding community in the creative world. I hope you all enjoy it, and I ask that you share it with one other person who would enjoy it as well. You can follow us on Instagram and tag us when you listen. Our handle is @CultureStudy. You can also watch us on YouTube and Spotify. Just search Culture Study Podcast. Thank you so much. Peace. Oh, I have a joke for you real quick, so then we can start. How about this? So, hang on. An elephant, a giraffe, and a lion walk into a bar, right? They're in Australia. Down under.
All right.
All right. So they go to the bar. They start drinking.
They're drinking.
They're drinking. They order. Hey, bartender, let me get a beer. That might be more British. I don't know.
So British.
Okay. Anyways, so they keep drinking. The elephant can hang. Lion can't hang. Giraffe can hang, right? Actually, no. I shut up. Giraffe can also not hang.
So only the elephant.
Only elephant. Then Manna walks in to the bar and she's like, What's that doing lying down there? Right? Clearly they're on the floor. The elephant goes, That's not a lion. It's a giraffe.
Okay, bye. Bye.
I hate you.
Goodbye.
I hate you. Lion down there.
That's not a lion.
That's not a lion. That's
It's a giraffe.
All right.
Where is the lion though? Is he also not on the floor?
Yeah, he was probably on the floor
Lion
elsewhere.
can't hang either though.
Don't worry about the details of the joke, okay? Let's move past it.
I hate you.
Usually when I start, I usually am interviewing one guest and I ask them to describe themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing as how y'all know each other so well, what I wanted to do was have one of you or each of you describe each other to start.
Okay.
So maybe we start with Leah.
Mm-hmm.
Leah, for those who haven't met Manna, how would you describe her?
Okay. It's funny because everyone obviously would describe each other as what experience they have with that person.
Right.
And Manna and I's relationship is very different from any other relationship that she has with other people. Like, I would describe her as extremely outgoing, stand up for what she believes in. Her morals are very much aligned with mine. So we get on that aspect. I feel like we just merge in a very, I don't know, it's just a strange way. And I feel like she's very open. When people meet her, she's open, she's confident. They might even assume that she has no worries because it's just the way that she carries herself. And I feel like even just being a Caribbean woman, like a Caribbean woman from London, she's 26 years old, she's coming into her own and she's just the best. Like, honestly, I feel like if you meet Manna and you don't like her, or she doesn't like you, mind you, if you don't like her, I just don't know, maybe there's something wrong with you. I'm being honest. Like, maybe you just can't take the pressure. Because she's pressure, I'm pressure, together it's tight. I'm sorry.
Wow. I love that. How do you feel hearing that?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's accurate?
I feel like it's pretty accurate.
Would you add anything?
No.
Okay.
There's some things about me, but no, no one needs to know them. That was good. That was a good run.
Okay. So Manna, now I'm gonna turn it on to you. How would you describe Leah?
To someone that's never met her.
Yeah.
Before. Leah has attributes of being like quiet and like chilling, but people want to go and find out about her. You know, I don't think that she's the most. She's loud when she's comfortable with you, but Leah's not off the bat like, da, 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 da. She's not always going to just be showing all of her cards. So she keeps them very close to her chest. So she has that kind of mystery about her, which is nice. But then, because I know that she's mad, I'm always kind of like, oh, and also I am the way I am. So when we're together, Leah's
Yeah.
just this kind of outgoing, bright center. She's just like a centerpiece in the room. But she's also the centerpiece. So it's just nice to be observed and looked at. She's very creative and very sensitive, which people don't know. Yeah, that's just Leah, really. She's really just an artist, for real. Like, she's just trying to ignore her problems in her art and make her art and not talk about anything. But she'll talk
Just
eventually.
express it through the art.
Yes, that's it. That is her expression, like, through and through. But yeah, she's, that's who she is. She's Leah.
Yeah.
She's my best friend. She's an artist. Like, that's it.
Does that feel?
Honestly, I feel like an artist is the like when you think about artists and you think like they might just be quiet in the corner in their sketchbook or like I don't even know, just doing artist stuff.
Yeah.
But then when you get to know them, I feel like I'm like a little mystery box.
Yeah.
It's not everyone.
Well, she's a
It's
pretty
just not for
mystery
everyone.
box, so you want to go and find out what is so mysterious about her. And then she's
We're gonna
probably
see.
going to be like, I don't really know about that. Like,
It's funny because when people actually get me to speak, they're like, "Oh wow, Leah has such strong opinions," and I'm like, "Yeah, because
That's why
I'm
she don't
not
speak.
great. I'm just very like, I like you, I don't like you.
Yeah.
I'm figuring you out, and if I'm figuring you out, you need to stay in that little box. I can know what's going on."
How am I fitting into this?
I like you.
Okay.
You already know.
Let's wrap it up.
No, he's like, I came here, I got my one.
I came here for White Crocs and credibility
affirmations.
and credibility from Leah. Okay, so with that, I think you would say that that's fairly accurate from what she described, and then also adding to it that you're really truly an artist. I guess I want to know a little bit about how kind of your states of mind right now. So like, just kind of how you've been feeling over the past maybe few months or past year. How are you really doing?
Should we start? I'm gonna start. Okay. I honestly feel like, have you ever been just sitting there and thinking everything's on fire, but it's fine. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. But in this very moment, if I look around and realize that everything's on fire, I might have a meltdown. It's giving very much that. I feel like it's figuring out stuff, growing up, a lot of very sharp realizations. Good things, some not so good things. Life is just life, and that is the real sentence. Like that is how I have to put it. I don't know if you can focus too much on just one thing. Everything is very fast. It just keeps going.
I've definitely felt the everything on fire in the room.
Yeah.
And then it sometimes leads to a spiral. I definitely had one of those recently.
Yeah, it's like, mental breakdown. Then it's like, actually, if I just like have a little matcha, I'll be good. I'm fine. I'm like living my life. And you're like, actually, wait, there's things.
So let me ask you this then, and then I'll go to you, Manna. Where do you feel like you've found success this year, and then where do you maybe feel like you've like had like a learning or just maybe are struggling to find a solution, if that makes sense?
I feel like I've found success in just trying to figure out exactly what it is that I want to do going forward and trying my best to be intentional with that, because I know that consistency is not my strongest suit, but I'm trying my very best to focus and really just get into my brain and be like, okay, cool, this is how it's working. This is going to make the most sense for right now, and try not to go too far into the future, because otherwise I will just be like, I can't do anything. And be like, you have those days where you're like, oh my God, I really have so many things to do and I can't move. Like my brain does that a lot. It's ADHD is really beating me up.
They
But
kind of just start piling onto each other, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. It's interesting because I definitely like experience that. I'm sure a lot of people do, but there's something I heard a few years ago that I really like, which I try to like remind myself of when I'm struggling with that, which is the actual like act of being stressed is actually something that we do a lot, but it takes away from your ability to actually do what you need to do. And simultaneously working towards a solution actually solves the stress. So it's almost this like circle of if you can break that cycle, then you feel good. And I think once you actually break that cycle, you have a productive day of sorts, or you try, then you're like, okay, I'm one step closer, and that gives you kind of that peace of mind. So works for me sometimes. But what about you, Manna?
What was the question again?
Question was, how have you really been doing? Kind of what have you been struggling with, and also maybe where have you been finding success recently?
I think that over the last 2 years, my biggest struggles have been in coming to terms with myself as a person and the way I've handled my life. So up until COVID, I was very much, I had my friends, but I didn't spend much time with them. I was always focusing on really myself, my business. I spent a lot of time by myself. I'd moved to New York and lived out there away from my family. And I was prepping myself to just create my own bubble that just consisted of me. Even though I was in a relationship and had strong friendships, it was just, I was always kind of just putting myself first. COVID came, everyone's at home under my parents' roof. Now I'm living with my boyfriend after just living under the same roof as my parents. And then we break up. Then I'm living with Leah. And then I've been living with Leah or someone else ever since. And I'm like, is this happening to show me that I need to accept being helped? And show me that I need community? Yes. Now, after that 2-year period, I'm going to be by myself again. And I'm like, damn, like it took so much for me to accept the help and community to now have to go back to where I was before then. I have to come to terms with, I'm only used to dealing with myself, but I've had to hear over the course of the last 2 years how my behavior affects other people. And now I have to apply that same kindness and patience and gentleness to myself. But I have work to do. I have things to focus on. Why do I, like, everything, the struggles really, I think, have only laid in that self-reflection and having to grow and be introspective. But I've also found successes in that. Like, I've formed really great relationships with the new work I've done on myself. And I've realized I was kind of putting myself in a box. I just wanted to DJ and model, but I'm great at creative direction. I'm great at styling. I'm great at reselling clothes. I'm great at sourcing vintage designer pieces. There's all these things that I've opened up my eyes to in moving to LA and not having money and having to figure out how to make money on my feet. I'm like, damn, I'm good at everything for real. Like, and I can do it. So yeah, I think I found successes in that and like my ability to communicate and network and connect people. Yeah, I need to give myself some credit for that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds like you learned a lot in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And one of those things being community. It sounds like you can still maybe have your bubble and your space, but the community can also be a benefit too, right? I
Even
think
though it's scary to trust people.
No, literally.
that's real.
It's funny because when we first came out here, what year? Like last year, for 3 months. No,
2020.
2020, sorry.
During COVID.
During COVID, before we had left London, we basically kind of cut off everybody. Like a lot of people had to go through various situations. So it was like, wow, like we really just had to get out.
Yeah. What I'm curious about I mean, you don't have to go into each of these details, but like, was there like a consistent theme
I
in
think
all of
it's
those?
realizing that a lot of the relationships that we had with a lot of people were not beneficial to us, they were beneficial to them. Leah and I have done a lot of character development with people, and we call it that because we'll see how we'll have people around and we're just spending time with them, and we'll bring them into our apartment and we'll be cooking and chilling, and they leave feeling so revived, but they will have like dumped a lot of their stuff onto us, and we're like,
it was giving agony aunt, like, come to the
it's
apartment
a
and
safe
let's do a
space.
therapy
Or
session.
we'd go out with them and they'd have the best time, and it's like parading around with us.
Yeah.
With we really value our male friends that we do have, because a lot of them have come in the past and it's like, these two just look really good next to me. They make me look good. But I'm like,
and then
that's
you
a
just
paid
love the
appearance. That's not a
thrill. You love the
friendship.
thrill of going to a party and we're next to you and be like, oh my God, who's those girls? And it's just like, come on.
And also, we're not doing that to them.
No.
So I think there was a constant theme of like being around Manna and Leah is a good look. But I'm like, we don't even know where we're going from A to B right now. Like, we've been
It's
living out
so
suitcases
funny.
for 2 years.
It's so
but
funny. People
it's
really
nice for a
have
picture for
these
Instagram. And I'm like, for what? I'm like,
people
I'm
have
literally
these
just
premeditated ideas about what we are as individuals and what we are as a duo all the time. And I'm like, where did you get this from? Like, people just make up whatever they feel like.
I don't
really.
think people understand how strong an accusation is. But it's like, if someone doesn't know me and they say something about me, that is stronger than if someone that knows me says something.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because you don't have an incentive to make up something.
Right.
But do you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But anyway, yeah, people
is
make
what
up
it
some
is.
wild things.
It's
We've
really
heard a lot.
laughable. It really is
We laugh all the
laughable.
time.
So
So we're like, how do you get here?
I'm sure there's I'm sure there are positive things that are said, and I'm sure there are maybe negative things that are said, but how do you deal with those?
We don't care.
Yeah.
Until
nothing
it
to
comes
deal
face to
with.
face and I catch someone actually saying something
Right.
in real life time, because I'm the hothead here. I'll be like, well, you need to actually watch your mouth.
Right.
And I'll
Because
ask you, did you
someone
say
somewhere,
this?
I'm running a brand.
I need to know if you
We're
said
trying to do
this.
something with ourselves out here. So it's just be mindful, because you could potentially tarnish something with a very
Gossip.
yeah.
It's literally just gossip.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mind your business. We're minding ours. Thank you.
I think that's important for sure.
Absolutely.
But I would imagine that also, like, maybe, I mean, anyone who has like a spotlight on them, it affects them in some way. And I'm wondering if there was a point where it did and you both kind of got to a place where you were like, no, we can kind of move forward here, or if it never really triggered you.
It's never been that deep, really.
No.
I don't know.
No, I think it's never really affected us, to be honest, especially because the people that do tend to come up to us and that notice us are people that are like, oh, I'm an artist and I've been following you for ages, or I cut all my hair off and I'm on my natural hair journey and you inspired me. The other stuff is so minuscule compared to that. So we have just ignored it. And also, we're used to being around people that have all these millions of fans, and we're looking at them like, I see how this has made you feel. And you know what? Even though I don't like people being in my business, I'll take the extent that they're in it too right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking, imagine waking up and opening like Twitter and
you've got
there's 10,000 millions of people just saying whatever they feel like about you. You can't do anything about it. But it must take its toll on their mental health. So I'm like, at least it's just a few people chatting nonsense.
I don't mind.
That's all we have to deal with.
Yeah, I think understanding that you can control what you can control. Clearly, you can't control other people.
No.
That's a tough thing to learn.
Especially me.
Yeah.
Oh, when you're an aggressive person, when someone says something you don't like, you just want to
correct them.
Yeah, you just want to correct them, but it's not productive.
Right.
Do you know what? I just have to think, okay, this person that has said this thing, do I give a flying monkeys, I'm going to say monkeys, about them and their opinion? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. No, 10 times out of 10, the answer is no. So it's just like...
The truth is, 9 times out of 10, you just got me in a bad mood hearing you say it.
Right.
Because don't get me wrong, there might be a time I'm like, yo, did you say this? Like, you need to actually mind your mouth and don't say that again. Because you need some, like, you know what I mean? You're tarnishing people's brand. You don't have the power to do that, but like, let's relax, you know? That's
Other than that, it's just like, whatever. People are going to talk.
Right.
Let them.
Yeah. Well, good. I think we squashed everything we had to there. Let's talk a little bit about what your day-to-day looks like right now. Like, what's a typical day for House of 73? I'm assuming there is no typical day. But if you can give us a little bit of an insight into, kind of any sort of form of routine that you have.
I would say that I wake up in the morning and Leah will be up like within an hour of that time. I will work out or talk to my family on the phone because they're all in the UK or Jamaica. Leah will get up and meditate, start doing her artwork. I'll be working on content for the house page or for my own personal stuff on TikTok and
Answer
Instagram.
emails.
Answer emails. That will go on for some hours, honestly, probably until around like 4 or 5. And then after that, most days I'm like, I want to be outside. So one of my friends will come and get me, and then I'll just be with them chilling, or there'll be something going on. So we'll like start getting ready.
Yeah, we
we'll
usually
play some
reconvene at
music.
around 5 p.m. and figure out what the rest of the night is going to look like.
Yeah.
And there's usually something every day. There's
Yeah.
something going
And
on.
I figure if we're doing this DJing stuff, we're
Exactly.
running a creative collective, like we
Needs
should
to
go
be
out and
networking.
network, because you're not going to meet people sitting indoors. As
Honestly.
nice as it is to not have to interact, sometimes we have to be outside. So most
Or for
days,
it's nonchalantly.
nonchalantly,
There we go.
Or
coincidentally,
coincidentally.
or on purpose.
How does
like,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was gonna ask how that kind of impacts you, because I would assume, I'm assuming here, but you seem more to be more of an introvert.
You know what? I feel like I'm introverted in terms of like speaking to people on a personal level. But when it comes to going out, it's like, if I want to go, I'm gonna just go. I'm like, it's whatever. And like, we have a whole routine. We get ready, we listen to music, like we're in a vibe before we even get out of the house. So yeah, we just want to have fun. We like to dance a lot. I'm pretty sure you've seen us out dancing before.
I've definitely seen that. Is that does that coincide with the networking? Like, is that, I mean, I feel like in your worlds, going out and just kind of like almost being seen as part of the networking, it was like, oh yeah, I was there. Right.
Exactly. Like, we've been booked to DJ places of like people being out and meeting us, not even seeing us play.
Hearing us anything.
They're like, oh,
We
we
want
saw you
you.
out here, and then so and so said you were some DJs, and it was like, we'll be like, yeah, we DJ. Oh my god, I'm gonna book you, and then
literally, like, we have people come up to us and be like, oh my god, we were at this thing that you guys DJ'd at and it was so sick. Like, I don't really go out, but anytime you guys play, like, I want to come.
Amazing.
We met people in like the restrooms, just like, oh,
Oh
what do
my
you do?
God,
We're like,
what
we
is
DJ.
this?
Oh my god, when's your next gig? I'm like, you don't
Right.
even know if we play or if we're any good. Like, you wanna
And like, they
come?
will genuinely come, because you know people will just like make up and they'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna pull up. They're not gonna pull up, but like
Yeah.
these
They
people
really
pull
pull
up
up to every
The classic
gig.
LA, we're gonna pull up. These people
Yeah.
really pull up.
Yeah,
It's
That
nice.
says something.
it is.
That
very
means you have a
nice.
little committed
We do,
community.
fan
and
base.
like, I'm like, I want to see these people when I'm out. Like, even if we're not playing
Right.
it, we'll tell them we're gonna be here, and they come, and it's like, it's nice to see when people just are about you for what you do.
And it's
Yeah.
fun.
and
Like,
who
when we
you
go out and we
are.
dance or we're playing our music, like, that's also a form of creative expression.
Yeah.
So I definitely love it.
Let's talk about that a little bit. House of 73. 74 when I joined. But what does that name mean to both of you?
So I'm gonna break this down for you
Yeah.
one time.
Get into it. 1, 2, 1, 2.
So 73 is the number of us both when we calculate our numerology numbers. So numerology, astrology, all of that stuff. Everyone has a number, and together our number is 73. And
Okay.
7 and 3 is 10, which is just the one. You get it?
Yeah.
So it's, you know, so we have that. I always dreamt of having a physical house, like a chateau, and in that chateau I would have different rooms allocated to all the different businesses that I want to run. That was initially going to be House of 27, which would just be, I'm thinking I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to have all of my team, everyone that loves what they're doing in their rooms, just working what they want to do. We have our big garden that when it's lunchtime, we have a whole cake. Like, that is the image. So I was like, we're going to start DJing. Cool. Let's think of this name. I was like, Leah also does a bunch of stuff. What if it's just a bigger house? So I was like, House of 73. That works. That's still the goal, to get that big house somewhere in the UK, and maybe in Cornwall, just like rolling fields,
one.
like,
Is that countryside?
Yeah.
Okay.
and seaside.
And seaside?
Yeah,
Is that?
maybe we'll have you come down and do a podcast
Ooh, I would
on
love
the
to.
seafront, you guys.
That'd be
But that's what the name means. It's just a house for us to
a nice
do all the
umbrella.
things we want to do under.
That's
People have
beautiful.
reference for us. It's not just, oh, them two girls from London. It's like, stop referring to me as
Like them two girls from London, them two DJs. First of all, DJ's even new, really.
DJing is
I've
the
been,
last thing we
like,
added to the list.
What is going on? But it's funny how people really have like, they're like, oh my God, those are those girls that DJ. And we're like,
You
Interesting.
know, I'm glad
what?
for it, but
Great.
please use my name.
Right.
But do you think that, well, do you think the DJing like label comes from the fact that you announced House of 73 as kind of like a DJ duo, and so now everyone can put you
Yeah.
in that box,
And
Yeah.
also because we've been pushing it
regardless of what
here
you've
so
already done?
much, and LA is big but small.
The
So it's like,
DJing has definitely like made people look at us,
In
which
what
I'm
way?
glad about. In a way, that's like, oh, there are these two girls and they're doing something.
Right.
Whether
So
you're looking at it because we DJ, whatever, fine. But you're looking, so you'll see the rest.
there's more.
so it kind of gave like something tangible for people to like work off of, like a product.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So there's benefits then to like coming out and together and saying we're this brand, right?
Definitely.
So where do you kind of see things evolving aside from the house in Cornwall? Like more in the immediate sense, like how do you kind of see? Because how long has House of 73 been around? Like less than a year?
A year and a
Yeah,
half.
A year and a half. Okay. So what does the next year and a half look like?
Ooh,
Do you want to
the
start?
next year and a half, hopefully, it's looking like us just getting paid to be us and do what we're good at. And we have started in a strong suit of that. So just continuing that. I wouldn't even want to put us in a box of like, oh, just to do this thing. Like, we'd never know what's going to be next.
Yeah.
As long as we're comfortable, we're being paid. And it's just something that is expressive to us, and things that we have been dreaming about as young girls can come to fruition. And we have a lot of young girls that look up to us as well. Not that we're like, oh yeah, we're your role models or anything, but
People
like,
tell us that.
yeah,
Though.
they tell us, and it's like, wow, I'd love to, when I was 7, to have a girl that was wearing her natural hair out and
Right.
was tall and like all of these
She's an
things.
artist,
Like,
and
she's
she
an artist and
DJs,
she
and she's
DJs and
models,
she
and
writes music and she's amazing and she's confident, and it's just like, just really solidifying that for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
I think really it just needs to, what it is going to look like, because we have to be intentional
No,
with our
right.
words. It's going to look like a lot of brands that want to be more inclusive, that want to encourage diversity, come in to House of 73 to say, hey, there's a campaign that we want to shoot. These are what the designs are. What do you have in mind? How do you make this look cool?
Mm-hmm.
How do we reach a target audience that is this? Because that is also what House of 73 is. It's a hub. Like, we've been doing influencer stuff and we've been modeling for 10 years, give or take.
We've been
And
influencing without even
we
knowing we were
know,
doing it.
Yeah.
I love shooting and creating around all my friends and their brands and the things that they do. So why would I sit here and just, okay, you can send me things and I'll post about them and you're going to pay me, but I can also direct the whole thing, because maybe you don't have all the ideas, but you have the intention. So
Right.
I'm there to facilitate. That's what the house also does.
Definitely. Because a lot of
Basically,
brands, they just don't know about cool things. And we are very good at knowing about cool things. Cool things, cool
yeah,
people. Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I honestly, I'll be real, that's just an ode to my parents, because they're just the
Genuinely.
coolest people. My dad is not afraid to talk to anyone, and my mum is not
Of
afraid
course
to be
not.
herself. So I've just inherited this. I'm good at like headhunting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, she's good at this, he's good at this. They don't know each other. But if I work with them on this, this is going to be impeccable.
Partnerships. Good
Yeah.
partnerships.
It really just, House of 73 in the next year and a half is just going to be doing a lot of DJing here. They just designed this space. They're doing an
Right. They're doing set
installation for this.
design.
They curated this party. They shot this campaign,
Literally.
directed it,
I just wanted to touch on
everything.
like the home base as well. Both of
Yeah.
us come from parents that are very confident, and they just know themselves, so we know ourselves as much as you
Yeah.
can, as you're growing. But I feel like that definitely makes us more like molded in certain ways. Like, we don't doubt ourselves at any
Yeah.
moment. Like, it might be a little hiccup, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna get into this.
You
Yeah.
have to figure it out.
We have to figure it out.
I feel like you trust the vision and you trust yourselves. The hiccups come from like the moments of like uncertainty where you're like,
Yeah.
things aren't going the way that I
Yeah.
maybe planned.
Yeah.
I feel that all the time.
It's
a universal feeling, honestly. I feel
Yeah.
like right now there's something that's like we're on like the edge of like a shift of something good's gonna happen, because everyone's
Yeah.
in this phase that's like, I've been working so hard, I'm actually putting the bricks down, the foundation is like being set, so when is this thing gonna break now? Like, what is gonna happen that's gonna give me my go ahead? But it's coming for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
I love that. Also, one observation, and I'm going to challenge you a little bit, but it sounds like your biggest strength is how creative you are in multiple, like in various fields and mediums. And it's also the biggest thing that causes your trouble is the lack of focus sometimes.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of balance those two? Or how do you try to?
personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Personally.
or as a duo, however.
Personally, and in regards to us as the house, I started this year especially focusing on my strengths, and I know that my strengths are, when it comes to social media, I have a way of presenting any product in a way that the client's going to be like, you know what? Respectfully, we do have a quota we need to fill. We need models that are of different races and sizes. I am the black girl with the afro. I am the girl next door. I grew up in a very Caucasian neighborhood. Like, I'm a nice balance between the two. I know I'm not going to take offense to that because I'm going to make my money off of it. And it also creates room for women that look like me. I'm good at that. I can make a lot of money off of it and I enjoy it regardless, like, whatever, I'm an influencer. Let me just admit it. I went into this year, I was like, okay, modeling's great when it's happening. Influencer stuff I'm good at and it can be consistent. I just need to be consistent. So I focus on my strengths. The other stuff is going to work out, but they're expensive hobbies.
Right.
And they take time. So you focus on your strengths. When it comes to the house, I know I'm the one that I'm good with the analytics. I'm good with the planning and the scheduling. I'm great at the creative stuff. But for right now, where we don't have an assistant, I have to do those roles because that's not Leah's forte.
She's better at it than me.
So I take on, if for now it means, all right, Manna, you take on 65% of the work and Leah has to do the other stuff she's good at least I know when push comes to shove and we have everything in place, I'll just be able to let up some of my load onto our team.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly very grateful for that, because I feel like growing up, like, you know, when you don't know how to do something and it feels like everything else that you do know how to do just doesn't matter, because it's like, why don't I know how to do this one thing?
Yeah.
And my brain works so like particularly that it's like, I just don't understand why I can't do this when everyone else can do it. And I get frustrated and it's really hard sometimes. But even like, man, having the patience to be able to show me certain things and like being like, oh, just do it like this. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, my brain never even thought of that. Like, you know what I mean? You're thinking like, all this time I was making it long for myself. Really and truly, I could have just done it like this.
Yeah.
But I feel like, especially over COVID and like really being by yourself and thinking about everything and even like thinking about your childhood, I feel like everyone has really gone through a revelation of how they are as a person, and like even like moving in with your parents and all these things, you're looking at yourself as a 12-year-old thinking, oh wow, like now it makes sense why I was behaving like that, or like, you know, just different things. So trying to use the weaknesses, I should say, and then trying to turn them into strengths. But it's always just a growing thing for sure.
Yeah. You got to focus on what you know you're good at. So then, not to look at the other stuff as hobbies, but you know, you have to decipher, like, is this beneficial to me right now?
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm really dedicated to this, like, you know, the whole like broke artist, broke creative. No, we're not doing that. No. Being a creative, I'm telling you, if creatives didn't exist, the world would not go round.
No.
Yeah.
So you guys are gonna understand that.
Yeah.
And that's just it.
Well, the narrative of having to be a broke artist is also, it bothers me because I'm like, well,
like,
that's a choice. Like, it's not a choice, but like you can
there are ways around it.
Yeah, you can create a world where that's not your situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I creatively like enjoy the projects that I work on, and I also like do like I work in tech, so I can pay the bills and not feel like I'm a broke artist. You know what I mean? And when the right opportunities come, like I'm excited for that. But in the meantime, I'm just not going to let that be my narrative, I guess.
Yeah.
But props to some people who are happy in that space as well, I guess. It's kind of a balance.
Listen, sometimes I think about getting a job regularly.
Yeah.
I'm like, what
And then
can I
I'm
do?
like, in what world am I going to be able to work a 9 to 5 and be like, hold on, I just need to go and shoot this content quickly? Like,
Sorry, my acrylic's drying in the back. Like, it's just not realistic.
but if push comes to shove, that's also something that,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, it's also nothing to
gosh.
be ashamed of either, is kind of what I would say. Like,
definitely.
I think I've observed artists who hide the main source of income they have, which is usually not their art in that sense. And that's like, there's nothing wrong with
It doesn't
that being
make
the
you
Why
less
case
would
of an
you
either.
artist
hide
at
it?
all.
Yeah.
Once you put the pen on paper, you're an artist at this point. Like,
Yeah,
just do what you
exactly.
have to do.
Yeah. I want to ask quickly how both of you met.
We met on Twitter
Twitter.
Wow.
like
Okay.
nearly 8 years ago.
Literally.
Really
App.
random.
What was the
So I was looking for a new modeling agency, and I didn't know this, but Manna had just left the agency. But I was like, okay, there's this pretty black girl on there. Let me ask her like what her situation is, because anyone that is like modeling, they will know like you kind of have to do a background check on them as much as they're trying to figure you out, just to see what's going on. And we had a short little conversation, and then we didn't like see each other or anything. And then one day I went into an agency for a walk-in, and she was literally sitting there, and we were like, oh. They were like hugs and met, and literally we weren't even like that close at the very beginning, but it was just like, I don't know, it was a bond. I feel like
This is like late teens,
Yeah.
because you both
I
are mid
just
20s,
come
right?
back from New York and I was 19.
yeah, if you were 19, I must have been like 18 then.
Wow.
19.
Modeling's so interesting because I feel like models get such an early start in the professional world,
Yeah.
So
where every other
early.
career is not really like that.
Like, the entertainment industry is quite,
It's daunting, but I feel like it's also beneficial because when you've been taking flights by yourself at 15 and
yeah,
16 and you've
staying
got
in
to go work with
hotels.
clients and you have to be really self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And like even traveling, like this is the least of our worries because it's like we've been doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I wonder if
So
that's where that
early.
sense of like community of one started.
I'm the only girl and the middle child between two boys. So I've always had that. I'm like, man, I remember we used to have to share a room, all three of us, and I got my own bedroom. So happy. Did I end up going back in there every night because I missed my brothers? Yes. But I had my own safe haven.
Yeah, I've always had my own room and I always had like a little art corner. So I'd just be in there cooking out.
So modelling on top of it is like, oh, I have to be by myself again. Fine. I was a loner growing up too. I didn't like people.
No.
Had like
When
3
I was younger,
friends.
I was like, I don't really. I remember the first day of like primary school, which is like what for you guys, like elementary.
Elementary, yeah.
I was like, no, take me back. Why am I here? I don't like any of these people. I can't do this. And I just found like my one little friend, and that was just it. We were just like together.
Same.
And that was it.
That kind of goes into something you said in your House of 73 bio. You have a bio, by the way. I found it. It says that you were both raised very similarly.
Yeah.
Sounds like there are some similarities, but maybe you can touch on those a little bit. Like when you say that, that's coming from your brand. So like when you think about that and reflect on it, what are some of those similarities?
I think we both pretty much come from a 2-parent household. Leah's parents have been married forever.
Literally.
My parents are married for a long time. They're not anymore, but they're best friends. They live in the same house. They really just partners in crime. We're both 1 of 3.
Exactly.
Oh, interesting. Hey, I'm 1 of 3.
Are you?
There we go.
Two older sisters.
Okay. You're the youngest.
You're a
The
baby.
youngest.
That's so
Leah's
funny.
the
I'm the
oldest. I'm
middle,
middle, and you're
youngest.
baby. Come on.
You saw it here first, people.
We're
There's something
both
here.
Caribbean.
Yeah.
Both have like a love for music. Our parents have a love for music and creativity.
I feel like growing up with creative parents that were like, look, just do the academics so you can get by and really do what you need to do. And yeah, I feel like, I don't know, it's just that sturdiness of having people that you know you can come to.
And people encouraging you, telling you that like, don't let anyone make you waver. Like, you are incredible.
Yeah. On your own, with community. Like, we've never been told you need to have like money or nothing outside can affect who you are as a person. So that's like your most important thing. Like your integrity, your character is more important when it comes down to it.
So I feel like the confidence that both of you have comes from really like your upbringing, specifically the influence and the impact of your parents. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really, really special. And just to better understand your roots, both of you have Jamaican ancestry,
Yes.
Irish, Irish as well. Is that right?
My dad has some Irish along the line. Honestly, that is a man that has 10,000 things going on. That's why I need to address his DNA. My mum is pure Montserratian though. Both my grandparents are Montserratian. Very tiny island in the West Indies. I think the population is honestly like 3,000, 4,000 people.
Wow.
Coachella is bigger. Like, it's crazy.
Coachella's bigger.
When I meet other Montserratian people, I'm like, how did you get here?
She's like, we're probably related.
Like, we're probably related, more than likely.
That's so funny. Yeah. And then also, what's
my family? Both sides of my family are Jamaican. My mum's side of the family, there's some Lebanese in there, hence the last name, Giardini. And then my dad's side of the family, we're not 100% sure, but they're definitely South African. Like, by looking at them, yeah. And the last name Mcleod is given oppression. But anyway, yeah, just a... I'm Jamaican as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. And do you feel the same?
I have to claim my Montserratian heritage, even though I haven't been there. But you know, Caribbean, small island. You know.
And then both of you were born in London?
Yeah.
Okay. So where's home? What feels like home for
Jamaica.
both of you?
Honestly, I went to Jamaica the first time last year because I always wanted to go like with my whole family growing up, but like the money just wasn't there. But it's fine. We're making it. We're making it happen. So I went with Manna and stayed with her family, and it was a really life-changing experience.
Really?
Like, there was one day, it was the last day when we were in the river and it was raining and we were in there for like 3 hours. And if you know me, I don't do the cold. I was enjoying myself, like top tier enjoyment. I was like, I don't want to go home.
The best days of my life in that river.
Oh,
that for real is
so
home. Like, everyone has to
amazing.
experience Jamaica because even if you don't know a thing about it, it feels like home.
The sense of peace that you have when you're just even like anything could be happening. You're just like,
yeah.
I love that. That's amazing.
We'll take y'all one day.
It's happening. When you think about your upbringings, are there any like specific moments that kind of come to mind in your childhood or just in your upbringing in general that kind of really shaped you? And if you don't mind sharing, that would be great.
Yeah. I like I said, being the only girl, being the middle child, I'm a very confrontational person because of these things, but there were a lot of times where I would have to come to the defense of my siblings. Just in terms of like, I'm a woman, so I know how to express myself. Whereas men, you guys take a bit more work when it comes to communication. So I would talk on behalf of me and my 3 siblings. Like, if it was something we'd be all gisting about in the back, I'm the one to present it to my parents. Or if something was upsetting us, I'm the one to voice it. Like, there would be family affairs. And I was 8 years old in the middle of that, talking to my grandparents about some da-da-da-da-da, I don't like this. So I think, like, this is what I'm good at. Hey, I know you want to book us, but what are you really saying though?
Right.
Or, oh, you have a problem? We're going to address this. And a lot of people don't like it about me, but it's one of the things that is, I'm sorry. If you don't like it about
You're
me,
direct.
It's what people love and hate about me. Because the thing is, it's great when it's at your defense, but if it's to confront you, it's a problem. But that is one of the most shaping things, I think.
I'm just taking notes here. Men don't know how to communicate.
I think that, no, not all of you. You guys just need a bit more encouraging, because a lot of men are told, like, why are you talking about your emotions?
Right.
Like,
bury it.
Don't cry.
I want to hear. Listen, my brothers, listen, I love you, but they be crying. We were told if you want to cry, you need to cry. You want to talk, you need to talk. But your sister's gonna come and back it though.
Listen, being the eldest, you have to carry everything on your back for real. Like, shout out to the eldest daughters out there, especially if you're black or brown. I'm telling you, it's not for the weak, okay? 2 younger siblings, 3 years in between each of us. Everyone very different. Was I the one pioneering for everybody? Yes. I'm like, you guys have it very easy right now because of me. It was me. Because my dad and I are very similar. Like, we butt heads. Like, we would get into it for real. Like, love that man. But honestly, and he can talk for the world. I can talk for the world. Mom's sitting there like, are you lot going to go on all night? And I'm like, yeah, we are going to go on all night. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm tired of talking now. So I'll just send him a letter and be like, if you agree, you can let me know. Yeah. I would write letters. I would literally write letters to him if I didn't agree with something he was saying. Because I'm like, I'm not about to get into it with you. I'm just going to write this down. So you have the proof also. I'd sign it. I'd put the date on it. And I remember the first letter I gave him. It was so funny. Actual.
The most indirect and the most direct communication.
I was like, this is the most direct I can get right now without it being a screaming match. So let me just write this letter to you. Oh. And my dad's a writer and he's a poet. So he used to find it hilarious when he would just see like dad on the letter. Not dad.
That's great.
And then my younger sisters would be like, how did you manage to get him to? I'm like, no. I know how to do this. I know the tricks. And I feel like just having so many personalities in the house, like everyone is just a huge personality. I'm pretty sure you have a big family as well. So, everybody's just into it. But really just taking control in the community sense was definitely beneficial. Because now I'm like, you can't tell me nothing. Yeah. I'm telling you what's going on here.
Being the first and the eldest. Yeah. And the daughter, like the first daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
first granddaughter, first of everything, really. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm the one, so
no, but you lot, first grandchild, you don't have it different. You're the favorite. I know. You can tell when someone's a first grandchild.
Listen, I remember, I think one of my aunties before my grandma passed away wanted, it was just like a necklace or something. Who has it? I do.
Oh no.
Just like, I can't even argue with this at this point.
But it's well deserved because of the shit that you gotta go through.
Yes.
I'm just thinking about my dynamic with my sisters, and I'm the youngest, so I'm like kind of this like prince who kind of prince in a sense of like I just got it easier.
About the trauma that their older siblings have caused them, and I'm like, guys, look at this. I never did that to you. I was helping you out. Yeah. You're lucky to have me.
Yeah. Last child syndrome is a real thing.
It really is.
I'm sorry, I don't know how that feels.
It's hard because almost like they feel like they've been left behind, but then also you had to focus on you.
I thought that was the middle child. No?
Middle child gets overseen, I think. Yeah. But I was not going to oversee me, that's for sure.
And as the only girl, you can't be overseen. It's
you had to speak up.
Listen, I was bad and good. It doesn't even make sense.
I don't understand.
I think I was the same way.
Really sharp with my responses, a lot of attitude. Mm-hmm. Just a lot of, I'm quite stingy.
Yeah.
But just really kind of loving, sweet. I want to do everything for everyone, make everyone happy. So it's kind of like, I don't know how to catch her out.
It's funny because whenever things would happen, I'd say something sharp. I'm like, I'm the remix of you guys. Like, this came from you. So
that's real.
Your parents can never be mad at you because you taught me this.
That's an interesting thing, right? Because I think growing up, we always, at least I did, I was in my head, my parents were perfect for a very, there was a moment in time where I think I realized they weren't, and then maybe that just comes from growing up.
Yeah.
But that's a very interesting thing to realize. But then on the other side of that, we are a product of them, right? And we actually have their DNA. And so
you cannot run from turning into them. And I think that the quicker everyone admits that, the quicker we'll all save ourselves some stress.
But I guess the struggle or the goal that I have is to make sure I'm the best version of my parents.
Yep.
And that doesn't all, that's I see shades of both.
Yeah. It's funny, I feel like during the pandemic, a lot of kids became the parent because they're at home also and they're like, wait, we never dealt with this before. Now we're seeing them as just a human being and we're like, oh, actually, we can teach you something as well as you teaching us.
Right.
Yeah. My parents believe that we come here to teach them. So my mum, I've always viewed my mum as my daughter. I think in a past life, she was my child. She's like, Mama Manna. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's my role when I'm in here because I run the household. When I come home, it's like, oh, the chief's in town, the general's back. I'm like, yeah.
Mum's like, oh, it's so quiet here about you. I'm like, yeah, when I was in there. Oh, okay.
No. I've always pictured my parents as my friends as much as I know they're adults and I have to respect them. I know that they're on their own human journey. And I think that's what's most special about my household, really.
Well, it sounds like, and you kind of both referred to this earlier, but they kind of looked at you both as equals in that way as well, right? They respected you. That it wasn't like a dictatorship.
Oh, no.
Or was it?
My mum would definitely run a couple And me around this asshole.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's
they
just
love
when
that
she's
one.
sick and tired of like
Yeah.
the noise.
And honestly, like after being like now being an adult, I'm like, okay, I get why you lot was trying
Same.
to be like, I
Yeah.
understand.
because we were I'm sure
I'm
we
still
were
scared
not
of my
easy.
mom. Still, she's a principal.
And you were the baby the whole
Yeah,
time.
Oh
yeah.
no.
No, I mean my sisters definitely had it harder, but I just
I get
I
it.
observed my sisters
Wait,
and I was
did you
like,
guys go
I'm
to
not
the school that she
not doing
was
that.
at?
One of us did.
Oh
Oh,
god.
Yeah,
I'm
First
not
picture
doing
was coming,
that.
it's like, mum. Oh god.
yeah.
That's more scary.
Yeah. No, I didn't, but I was always here. We used to sit in on her like class, like when we were like
Mm-hmm.
kids, like
Mhm.
very very young. We would go to her school because she used to be like a teacher in Koreatown in LA.
Mhm.
And the way she treated these kids, I mean, she's like a great teacher. Like
Mm-hmm.
they still reach out to her to this day, like 30 years later, and like you made such an impact on my life. But I saw the impact, like man,
And
yo, everybody was scared of her. So I think
oh
I saw what she was capable of, and I was
yeah.
like,
Let me
I'm
fix
gonna
up.
just follow the rules. That's
I
kind of
like
how
that.
yeah. Speaking of that, I have a word here, and I want to know what it means to both of you. Unruly.
Oh.
Unruly.
Unruly.
Really just means that you can't be ruled.
That's
Mm.
literally the
It's my
definition of
rules
unruly.
for me. If you don't like it, you can bite it. And quite
Point blank.
frankly, I'm always here to listen to what the people I love have to say. But that doesn't mean I have to do anything about it unless I agree. So won't be
Literally.
ruled. And it is one of my favorite words because one time one of my favorite makeup artists, Healer, was doing my eyebrows and she was like, "You're some unruly eyebrows." I was like, you know what?
It's so funny because Popcorn, he's always unruly, and everyone's like, "Did you get that because of Popcorn?" I'm like, "No,
No. Popcorn
no."
just figured that word
Do you know what
out.
I'm saying? Like that's being how it is.
Yeah.
Just unruly.
And also for context, do both of you have it tattooed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Here.
It's like
Yeah.
here,
That was
inside,
a
in red,
team decision.
in the canvas.
Yeah.
I like it. That's cool. And it kind of it's like symbolic of like your creative expression as well, you know. You're very just yourselves. Unruly is a good term. I probably say it in a
Thank
not
you.
cool way, but
I like how you say
Yeah,
it.
unruly.
unruly.
Mud
Okay, let's talk a little bit. Leah, I want to know about your visual art, like your
Yes.
design work. So maybe
Okay.
tell me a little bit about um just kind of how that evolved. I'm assuming that you started this one maybe when you were younger. You mentioned that you used to have a little art section in your room. So tell me about some of your design work and also how would you maybe describe your visual arts?
Okay, so my dad is a writer and artist. So I grew up seeing him do everything creative. Like he used to do set design, he used to do like wedding design, like literally everything. He used to just paint everything that I've seen him do. I'd like tried my hand at. Like he was doing it, I'd be like doing the little version in the corner. And I feel like that's was up until I went to college. I went to college for art and design. Hated it, honestly hated it. It's funny looking back now, I'm like, some of the techniques that I use now, I actually learned at college. So I did gain something from it.
Yeah.
When I started modeling like mid-course and I was like, I'm out, I don't need to be here no more, I'm making money now. I remember walking in like after class in my book one time, I took one look around and I was like, I don't need to be here. I think I actually said that and I was like, goodbye.
I'm done.
And one of the teachers tried to tell me like, oh, you're not going to pass, you're not going to... I was like, I don't need to do any of this. Like, I already know what I'm doing. I don't need to do your history work anymore. That was given unruly. Like, they were trying to make me do essays and stuff. And I was like, this has nothing to do with anything. Like, I just want to paint. Like, what's the
Nothing
issue?
to do with anything.
I just can't. Because when they see my work, they'll be like, oh my God, wow, can you explain it? I'm like, it's up for your own interpretation. And that is what I stand by. All my work is up for your own interpretation. If you ask me about it, I'll tell you. Sometimes it's just something that I think is aesthetically pleasing. Sometimes it comes from a story. A lot of my late work has been inspired by just like women figures in my life. Like I'm working on a painting right now that is inspired by my grandma, and it has like my childhood toy in it, and it has her vanity that I always see her doing her makeup at. So like just things that are like close to home like that. And I just love portraying women in an aesthetically pleasing way. And kind of like also abstract, because women would never exist in this world. Like, they're very long, they're slender, they're kind of built like me, but like, yeah, they're just very long. And I'm also inspired by like the old Jamaican art, old African art. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen like the vases, like the really long women on, they'd have like things on their head and stuff. Just inspired by things like that. And I love experimenting. So any medium that I can get my hands on within the space that I have, I'll try it out. And I'm very inspired by just things that are around me. Like, I'll take pictures of the most random thing and people are like, why are you doing that? I'm like, I'm going to use it in the art like later on.
And then you incorporate it.
Yeah. And because I've been traveling and we've been out here and I've had to do like quite small pieces, but I really do envision my art being large, like 6 foot women. When you walk in the room, you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
That kind
Like
of
true to
thing.
size.
Yeah, true to size.
I love that.
Fully. I'm 6'1". I take up space. I have to be there deliberately. Yeah. I feel
You
like
didn't have a choice.
No,
I'm just
not
taking
at
up space.
all. I feel like also that is another reason why the confidence is very much instilled, because I never had an issue with being as big as I am, being as tall as I am. I was taller than all the boys at school. It was just like, okay, I'm just different, and that's just what it is. I think I wanted to be short one time because I wanted a pair of pants that were too short for me. But other than that, outside of like fully aesthetic purposes, I'm like, look, this is me taking up space and this is how I'm going to do it. And I feel like my art definitely shows people that.
Yeah, I love it. I've seen some of your art that you shared, and I think it's really beautiful. It's like a very elegant expression, the way that you just design. Like even there was a one that you did recently of a woman on a couch who was just kind of chilling on the couch, but it was just so beautiful. I think she was chilling in like in her like she had just showered or something.
She had like a little skirt.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and it was just like a really like lounging, beautiful expression of like kind of peace.
Yeah,
So
and a lot of my work is actually nude purposely, because I just feel like the censoring of women's bodies is unnecessary. If a man can have his nipples out on Instagram, then why can't we? You know, it's just, a body is a body. I've been brought up like that. A body is a body. You shouldn't be ashamed of it. You should thrive in it. And it will make you less insecure when you just look at yourself in the mirror every day and be like, I'm this. Yeah, I'm the one. That's it.
I'm the
No one
one.
can tell me nothing else. I'm the beauty standard. I'm telling you, women out there, if you are feeling insecure, just look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm the beauty standard. This is all of my heritage. When I look at myself, I look at my nose, my forehead, anything I even don't like, it just is what it is.
that's beautiful.
I love that.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Can I have some lip gloss, please?
That looks so dry, look.
You've also collaborated with Manna on some of her, like, so for her singles that she's done, you've done some artwork for them.
Yes.
What's that kind of process like?
It's funny because I was nervous a little bit. Not nervous, but like, okay, so you know, as an artist or as a songwriter or anything creative, like when you're doing something by yourself, yeah, you can make mistakes, you can do whatever you want. But when someone kind of gives you a brief, you're like, wait, hold up. I don't really know. Because Manna was like, do anything. And then the producer of the track was like kind of giving me a bit more direction. So I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. Never really had to be told anything. But I liked it. I liked how it came out in the end. Midway through, it actually all got deleted, and I was like, you know what? Let's just start from fresh of what's in my brain right now. And yeah, I came up with that piece, and I think it was a good representation of the track.
Beautiful.
It was.
Yeah, she did.
It's also, you're just kind of back to your point. It's like you're kind of being vulnerable when you're pitching your idea or sharing your ideas with others, especially when it's not you putting it out on your own terms. It's more like you need their approval in a sense. So that vulnerability is like, especially when it's creative, that's like such an intimate thing to be able to share when it comes from the heart and when you care. And so I'm glad that it was received very well. But I think
after a few times of doing it though, it's more like, okay, this is my thing and you guys come to me for my thing. Yeah. So yeah, of course there can be a few tweaks or whatever if it's like, you know, necessary. But outside of that, we were just working.
Yeah. Manna, can you talk about your creative process a little bit and kind of what you're up to with music as a singer, as a songwriter?
As a singer, as a songwriter, I honestly feel like I've put that on pause for the last 2 years. I just feel like I'm really big on words. So I write every day. Like if there's one thing I do every day, which is supposed to be my Pilates, I write every day without fail. Like whether I just write a sentence or I like write is my biggest form of expression. So I will just like be on my notes. writing, just writing whatever I feel like needs to come out. So when it comes to writing poetry or songs or just writing to write, I would do that every day. So I guess that is there, and that's never been put on pause. But in terms of actually making music and singing and recording, it's been scarce. Solely just because I have to, once I'm in the habit of being in the studio, I want it to be every other day. And if a space that I'm working in has to change or I need to find somewhere new to do that, it's hard for me because you see me in here barefoot, like I'm in there barefoot, like prancing around, like I need to be able to entirely be myself in there. And if I can't get access to the place where I feel like that, I don't want to do it at all. And then all my home recording stuff I left back at home at my parents' just because I was like, I'm adamant I'm going to find a space, a great recording studio with a great team. And I did find that. And I've recorded a couple of songs here and there, but I haven't been inspired lately to sing. My mum always says when I'm not singing, it means I'm sad, and she's probably right, even if I'm just singing in the shower. So I guess I've just been a bit sad for the last couple of years. But it's all right.
That's real.
Yeah.
What do you think has made you sad?
A lot of things changing, me being away from me being away, like mentally. I've been in survival mode. How do I make money to pay rent? How do I make money to survive? Like living away from everyone. How do I keep sane? How do I navigate not being in a relationship for the first time in 5 years? Like, what? Who is Manna outside of everything that she knew? It's like, now I know. Now. But that's on whatever day it is in February 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah, the creative process this is part of the process, is stopping and starting and feeling uninspired, or maybe it's almost scared to sing because you want to hear how you feel. Um, yeah, it's very emotion based for me, and I like for people to really hear what I have to say when they listen to my music. So I think that the next thing I do release will be very intense and it will be very open and telling of the past few years, but in a way that's like, oh, man, I went through that as well. Like, yeah, man is this great, confident person, but she has her stuff.
Yeah,
Like, we're allowed to have our stuff.
absolutely. What are some of have you noticed themes in your writing that you do every day?
I've been starting to break down a lot how we look at words and how they exist in our day-to-day lives and how they exist for different people. So the word control, where does it come from? Why do we feel the need to have it? What is the solution to the problems that wanted to have control
I,
can cause? Surrendering. You need to surrender. At some point, you have to learn to do it. And at some point, you're going to realize why it's good. And it's really just conversations with myself that kind of turn into essays. And I'm like, I feel like I could teach a class at university somewhere about this stuff.
you mentioned control. Why was that the word that came to mind?
Because the night before, I realized that I am a control freak. And I've never admitted it to myself before, but I am 1,000,000% a control freak. And it's just been how I've survived my life.
In what sense of the word are you a control freak?
I don't want to hand control over to anyone else in regards to what is going to emotionally, physically, mentally, or financially affect me, because they're all personal to me. But you must do so, because I'm not an accountant. I need to know. I'm going to pay you to do my taxes because I don't want to do that. oh, I need help. Like the other day I had to send an email and like reply to a text, and I was in the shower and I was like rushing, and I was like, you can really just ask Leah to do it. But it was so hard for me to ask her because I was like, I can just do it. And then I just text her and I was like, oh, I can actually enjoy my shower now. I was like, damn, like that's some unnecessary pressure I was
Mind you,
putting
I'm
on.
like, okay, yeah, of course I can do that.
In my head, I'm like, no, like I know I want it like this. Like,
Yeah. Can I challenge you?
of course.
Okay, because I think what I've come to learn on my own is that we can't do everything ourselves. And I think just understanding both of you have a really grand vision, and I'm speaking to you in particular, like your vision for the house that you want to create, I think requires help, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I think I struggle with it because I think I need things to be done in a very specific way that makes me feel like, okay, I'm doing my part, or I'm accomplishing what I want out of this. Um, so I'm with you on that, the control side of things. Um, but I also realize that there are sometimes other ways of doing things. And at the end of the day, like in order to advance the mission or the vision,
To
like
spread wide and
we do need to, yeah.
yeah.
And that's why partnerships, which you touched on earlier, is so important, and connecting, and not only being a community of one, but of many, right? Which is kind of how you started, right? Like, I mean, I think there's strength in numbers. You said that also in your bio that I found, right? I think you two together is like a force. Your forces individually, but also collectively, it just doubles or triples.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely taught me to be less of a control freak.
yeah.
Just a bit less.
What are each of your strengths when it comes to running like a business now that you're running a business together?
I feel like we have a good balance when it comes to like I can be a bit more resilient in some places, man, I can be more resilient in some places, and just picking up where the
I'm
other
good at the
person
behind
left
the
off.
scenes. I love the behind the scenes stuff. So if a girl ever want to intern,
Man
I love
is very good
being
at
like
that.
prepping and doing all of the stuff for it to show. But once the show, don't call me. I don't know.
Do you know what it is? I feel like a lot of the time the love for the actual craft or like whatever it is, like if I need to get something done creatively, I'll just find the resilience in my soul to be like, I really don't want to stand here right now and have to be the tech guy because it's not my steez, you know. But if that means that we have to do that if I've got to do that for 10 minutes so that we can get the show on the road and Manna can feel comfortable to come back and do her job also, then cool, I'm gonna do it.
You bring her back from the nearest exit.
You know, I'm like, wait, honestly, the other day I looked up and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna keep playing until she comes back. But yeah, I feel like we have our strengths and weaknesses and they work together. And I'm trying to, it's just like working on what you can work on.
Leah's good at handling the
troubleshooting.
She's great with troubleshooting out live. Me, I'm just good at the stuff behind to make sure we get to the show.
The prep. Yeah. Okay, so this is all really valuable. I'm wondering what advice you would have for like creators or aspiring creative professionals.
Don't set yourself short. You know, like if you have something in mind, but you're like, oh, I'm worried because no one knows me yet. No. They're
Because
gonna
when
know.
we started this, it's like, yeah, there's followers on Instagram, but at that point, it was like these followers on Instagram mean nothing. They mean everything and nothing at the same time. Like they speak to us, we speak to them on a personal level of like, oh, we've been following you on your journey or whatever, but the numbers alone really mean nothing. So it's just really honing in on like the community that you do already have that's built, even if that's 2 people or 5 people, 100 people. Imagine you're standing here, there's 100 people in the room that support you.
That's
so many people.
And I think people worry like, oh, but no one's gonna know. If you have one person that supports you, that's one person that's gonna tell another 5 people, and then you have to be okay with starting somewhere because you can't you're not gonna. I'm not being funny. You don't just start DJing and turn into Kate Trinada overnight.
Do you know what I mean?
My first gig on my own, I was livid. I hated it. I was like, man, I'm not doing that again. Like, I'm not doing this about Leah. I'm never doing this again. And then when Kay heard me play it again, he was like,
yo.
"Oh, you know the thing." I was
And
like,
it's funny because
yo.
our friend, another of our best friends from London that also taught us at the beginning was like my first set alone. He was like, yo, like what? Like, you're not really working in the back. And we were like, oh, thank God, something.
Yeah,
like,
we were doing it.
To get the approval of your peers and people that you love and like you class as your family is really like great.
Yeah.
We just had to be okay with starting somewhere and like accepting rubbish money. Like, this is not even covering the Uber there and back.
Do you
You
know
don't even
what I
want to give me a drink
mean?
ticket and I need one because I'm
But
stressed
then
out.
we're sitting there in the bed and we're like, okay, you know what? Yeah,
We're getting
even
paid at least to do something we just started learning to do.
exactly.
So being
and then we don't know who's going to
okay.
be there. There could be a connection to something bigger. Like, we just never know what is going to happen. And we're in LA. Like, we really never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing. Like, don't sell yourself short as a creative when you want to start something new. Like, just have your ideas. Think of a big picture. What can you do now? I'm going to get there. That's it.
I also want to say, if you are starting a business and you want to think about your prices, put what you are comfortable with.
Yeah.
And what makes sense to cover you and your bills and like just you first, and then, you know, get into the rest of it. Because I feel like a lot of people, when they start, they struggle with pricing because they're like, but nobody knows me. Like, they're not going to pay me this much. They are.
Yes, they are.
They are. Trust and believe they are. We started.
They have the money,
businesses.
and I'm not being funny. Sometimes you're lowballing yourself so much so they would plan to charge you to pay you 10 times the amount that you offered.
And they're like, oh, we're getting a bargain now. No. Don't be someone's bargain. Please don't be anyone's bargain, because you might feel like you sold yourself short.
And go to them. Don't wait for someone to come and ask you. You put yourself out there because someone might say yes. Everyone else might say no.
The worst thing they can do is either say no or not respond. And at that point,
you've not
doesn't
lost
exist.
Anything.
And then again, try again in 3 months. Try again in a year. You never know.
Yeah.
True. Give it a week and try again. Listen, pester power works.
You're talking to these people, they're in an office full of 100 people. They might not even seen your email. Just send it again.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you'll break through somehow. And that's with anything that you're doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Persistence.
Yes.
There you go.
I love it. You mentioned we're in LA, where anything can go. How does LA suit you both?
The weather, and it looks pretty. When I want to absolutely lose my mind, I just look outside and I'm like, you know what? It really could be worse. But I think that's it. Like the sun, the palm trees, and the pace of LA is somewhat similar to London. So it's like we have this go.
Come on.
So it helps us to be like, all right, one thing at a time, because everyone here is quite chilled, laid back, sometimes a little too laid back. But
And you know what? I feel like because everyone does come here to, like, you know, try and be something, and you know they are the fake people, but there are some people out there that are really just on their thing, and then when you collide with them, it's just the best thing, because it's like we're all trying to get to.
You meet a good set of people out here when you meet a good set of people.
You hold them close to you.
Yeah.
Finding your tribe anywhere you go, I feel like, is your best bet.
Yeah. Being from LA, from Pasadena, I see both sides of LA is beautiful.
I can imagine.
And I think some of the most special things are usually not seen by the folks who like move here.
Yeah.
Because it's about like the community and the family and the neighborhoods, you know, those are really special. And then there's also, I think when I hear criticism of LA, not from you, but just in general, it's usually like the criticism is of people who are not from LA.
We always say this.
It's the folks who moved to LA for that same thing you just mentioned.
The imports, even though we are imports, but
yeah. But even then, I think it's not so much like that they're imports. It's more just like the reason why, you know.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Because till this day, like, if you tell someone from London that you're living in LA, they're like, oh my God, the glitz, the glam, the this, the that. And I'm like,
what are you talking about?
Have you ever actually been?
Sometimes I look at LA, I'm like, you want to talk about third world country?
It's giving that. Because, come on now. As much as the ups are up, the downs are down.
Really down bad.
Down bad. Like, you can be in the sun and you're just sitting there thinking, oh my God, just please. Just take me out. I don't know what's going on.
I'm done.
I came here for what?
So what do you miss the most about London?
The food.
Yeah.
The food?
Immediately.
Yeah. Why are you saying that?
I will die on this hill because everyone wants to fight us when we say this, right? The food.
The
multicultural.
Cultural. Yeah. Okay.
You can go to an Indian person that is making Indian food and it's good.
Yeah.
A Chinese person, a Jamaican person. Like, yes, you guys have good Mexican food, but outside of that, Come on now.
See, y'all don't know the spots.
We don't know all the spots, but
No,
we've
not
been here
all.
for long enough to know that there are not enough of the good spots.
Yeah.
Do you
Just
see what I'm saying?
generally.
You have
Yeah.
to, and we don't drive, so it's not fair. Even like going to the
So
supermarket.
LA's just not fair to you.
No,
It's not.
we can go to the supermarket and get like a freshly made sourdough loaf. I can't even. It's hard enough to find a bakery out here. Like I just love Europe. I love cheese.
Come
I love
on.
butter.
You guys'
I
cheese
love
doesn't even have salt in it.
steak.
I
A
can't take
roast
this.
dinner. I feel like also it's something to do with the seasonings that can and can't be
It's the
imported
palate.
into LA.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing that they released the other day that said that maybe like 60 of the ingredients that you guys use in your food are actually illegal everywhere else in the world apart from the USA? So you guys' palate is actually built completely different. So you go to Europe and you'll be like, this is not salty enough. This is not this
Someone
enough. That's
said
not
that
this
why
enough.
is European bread rock hard? And I was like, no, it's
I know,
perfect.
it's supposed to be like that. There's a crust, okay? But yeah, it's definitely cultural differences. And you guys love
The
to put cheese,
food.
fake cheese on everything and fry everything.
The food in the charity shops for me,
Yeah.
like you guys have like Salvation Army and stuff, but we have it's just better. Like shopping in London is just better.
Shopping in London is
It
incredible.
is.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
amazing.
There's a
You
lot of
already
history with
know.
it
The
as
food
well.
is the food is really good too. Like I really love London, so I'm not gonna hate on it at
A
all.
good chicken korma
Come
and rice
on.
with an onion bhaji. Like that is one of the first things I ordered when I went back home, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
I can't wait. I'm honestly gonna be like,
Well,
get into my
2-piece and
London.
chips, 2-piece and chips,
You
chicken
guys
shop.
don't
You
have chicken
guys
shops
don't have
here.
chicken shops.
no,
Well, after school, you get your little 6 wings and chips.
we
4
got
wings and chips, they'll throw another one in
we
there.
have
You
like
was thinking, this
KFC,
is a
Pop.
good
It's all like
day.
fast food, not
And
chicken shop.
No,
Popeyes is
Yeah.
dry. Sorry, I have to say it.
apparently people don't eat
All the hot
KFC
takes are
here.
about food today. I love it. Popeyes is dry.
Popeyes is dry. KFC is. I've never eaten
And the
KFC in America.
McDonald's
I don't
here,
know.
forget it.
Why don't you
UK has
open
the
the
best
first chicken
McDonald's.
shop
Maybe that is
in
actually
LA?
something to look into because I'm
telling
sure
you,
if all fails,
that's a niche here for sure. You guys wouldn't know what hit you if you see the Sam's coming.
my
Or
stomach is
Dixie or
rumbling all in
something.
this.
Yeah,
Now
I'm
they're
getting
talking about
hungry.
food.
This is fun. I want to talk really quickly. We're gonna pivot, but I did want to talk a little bit about modeling, and I think it doesn't have to be necessarily about modeling itself, but I think one thing that I found really interesting, and even just in kind of the research I was doing, is you both are celebrated and admired for wearing your natural hair and just being who you are and embracing that. And so I was just wondering if you can share a little bit about what that journey was like, and maybe just I think even we'll start there and then I'll kind of pivot.
Okay, so I started modeling when I was 13, and at the time, I used to have a condition where I'd rip my hair out. So I had really long hair, and then I cut it all off because it obviously all had to grow back. And I had a short afro, maybe like this long. I'll try to find some images and send them to you. And from there, I was just like, all right, cool. Like, let me see what this modeling thing is about because they're saying they love it and how I'm like a mix between Naomi Campbell and Grace Jones. And I have this little crop, and I was like, all right. And it worked. And I was like, okay, this is new for me because I always was that. I was the one black girl in school with long flowing hair. Like, it was very new for me. I enjoyed it. They didn't really do anything to my hair because, as we all know, in the modeling industry and fashion industry, most hairdressers don't know how to deal with black hair. So they just left mine alone. This thick head of short hair, it was like, I'll just rub a bit of product in it, you're good to go. Until my hair grew out and then it was relaxed. So it was straight all the time. And then I did New York Fashion Week and my hair was ruined. After it being straightened every single show, I was like, whatever, man, the hair's dead anyway. I'm probably going to have to cut it off. And then I got back to London, signed with my current agency. And shortly after that, I did a show and all of my hair fell out. They put like a whole can of hairspray in my hair. And I'm not sure if they know, but you shouldn't really be putting hairspray on black, relaxed hair and more heat. So I washed my hair, it all fell out, and went straight to the barbers the next day. And I just they cut me a high top. That was my look for about a year. And that was really the turning point when people were like, okay, wait, like, she's actually just rocking her hair how it needs to be. I grew out the high top and I went back to having a short afro, and then my Instagram I started going viral on Instagram, and people were like, oh, you're so brave. And I was like, I'm not brave. Like, this is just my hair, and I love my hair. It just is, I was one of those girls that enjoyed having my hair straight for a long time, and then I was working a lot with it straight, but even more with it natural. So I think the fact people were like, oh my God, she's actually working a lot, and she's just in casual day-to-day life got her hair like this, like I can have my hair like this too. And after the last time when it fell out, I was like, I'm actually done letting anyone put anything that doesn't make sense on my hair in my hair. And my agents would tell them, Manna's come in, the absolute most you can do is put in a small amount of moisturizer into hair, and that's it. And it's funny because I hear a lot of girls and just models in general that have a similar hair texture to mine complaining and like crying on social media. And not to be that guy that's like, but why though? But I'm actually asking you why, because you sat there the whole time and they had straighteners running through your hair. It smells like burning, because we know what the smell of afro hair burning smells like. And you didn't say anything. And then you want to talk about the money. There are actions that you can take prior to that happening.
Absolutely.
And also, if you want your hair that bad, don't do the job. There'll be another one where they don't need to do all of that. But
And
that's
the
just
thing is,
my
they
opinion.
will pressure you into thinking you need to do it, but it's just
no,
like, you
and the
don't,
thing is,
you
they
don't.
won't though, because who are they? They cannot come and pick you up out the bed and put you down to say you need to. If you're
This is
not
why it's
going, you're
important
not
to have a good
going.
relationship with your booker, because you need to tell them beforehand so that they know on file, this is what you're not going to do.
Yeah.
The girls are not doing that. They're pulling up to Fashion Week. 10 people are in their head because they have no idea what to do. Your hair is fried, dyed, literally laid to the side. Now
Like
you're
Leah will
upset.
walk in like this and they'll be like, we need to straighten it. And then you have
What are
like
we talking
3
about?
pairs of straighteners.
Yeah.
They're randomly combing it, and it never looks good when it goes out.
The day I had enough, I think there was 3 people doing 2 straight backs on my head, and I was like, yeah, you lot.
Leah could have done it herself.
I
She
did it myself.
literally can do hair.
They were struggling. One person's holding one piece of hair, someone else is holding another piece, and someone else is holding another piece. Does that sound right in any way, shape, or form? No. Just hang it up, man.
Yeah. It's we're celebrated for it because I don't know why we're celebrated for it. There shouldn't be any celebration around it.
Should be normal.
Yeah.
Every day, people are like, "Oh my God, I see you guys rocking your natural hair. It's so amazing." It's like
that is a whole other
it's not a
topic to be
political
discussed.
statement to have your natural hair out.
They're
It
like, oh,
is
I love
just
your
something that
hair
grows from my
queen,
scalp.
like, and I'm like,
Black
this
power.
literally is just how I was born, and I just hate the fact that I have to like preach about it, but I do need to preach because, like, I just don't know. That's a whole other conversation.
But I feel like it kind of highlights a lack of inclusion in specifically in the modeling in the fashion industry, and that's just like one symbol of it.
Entertainment in general.
Yeah, but just how important it is to even like you're thinking about hair and makeup as something secondary, but you need folks who can do hair
If you're a
for
black model, the
for
first
black
thing
models.
you think about is hair and makeup.
They used to tell me when I first started modeling, you need to bring your foundation shade with you to set, and I was like, no, I'm not.
They would tell me the
No,
same
I'm
thing.
not doing that. Do you know what?
That?
Because you're also not telling my white counterpart to do that, because she's not going to have that problem. So if you want me to bring my makeup, pay me the makeup artist fee and pay me the hairstylist fee and my rate plus the usage, because I've done everyone's job. I'm not just lingering in the back. And that is why my agents love me, but they're also mindful when it comes to sending Manna out to clients, because can they deal with her? Most of the time they love it because, listen, I want your pictures to look great. I also need to look great for that to happen.
Yeah.
So the more honest I can be, the better for it is for all of us.
Now I'm like, you know what? Day before, please just send me like what look you're going for, because then I can best help you beforehand.
Right.
That's just it, really.
I mean, at the end of the day, like when you're walking down a runway or you're in a campaign, you're the face, right? They don't look at the hair and makeup person and say, "Oh, that lipstick is off," or
like, "Oh, she looks bad.
that makeup color is not matching."
And then everyone's, oh my God, why did that makeup artist do that? I'm like, no. There is a human that sat there and watched them do that. And she just said, okay, you're not on autopilot. I understand that it's quite intimidating, but also like if you don't have a backbone or thick skin in this industry, you are going to just buys everything and everyone, because they will just use you and chew you up and spit you out.
And the thing is, at the end of the day, if you're doing a job, it's in your best interest to look good. You're not going to book any more work if you look crazy. They're not going to not hire the makeup artist or the hairstylist again.
Yeah.
They're not hiring you again. So let's just think about that. You know what I mean? We have to get to the real of it. I'm sorry. I remember when I first started at my agency, when I was like 15, I went in, well, I had a wig at the time. So it was just like a straight wig. I actually think it was like dip dyed or something. Crazy, crazy hair. I was in my creative stage of just doing any hair color I felt when I woke up in the morning. I would order the hair online, bleach it at home, doing a whole hairdressing session, right? So I went to the walk-in and they were like, oh, we love you, we love you. I did some shoots with just a straight wig. And then they were like, okay, so I think that we need to like have natural hair but then straighten it. And if you know me, you know that's not a thing. Like I used to blow dry my afro and I would just be walking around with this big like, and oh my God, it's like candy floss, it's like this. I'm just like, please leave me alone. This is just my hair. This is my thing, you know? So my hair was blow dried all that time, which is not your natural state of hair, which I thought it was at the time because I was like, oh, this is just how it grows out of my head. And then I remember going to a shoot and I had my hair out, my afro out, and they wanted to do a ponytail, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna aid you in how to do this because I know. The woman was like insisting, and at that point I don't know what it was. I think I was starving, I was so hungry, and I was like, you know what, yeah, let's just get this last
Leah
shot
doesn't
done.
do well when she's hungry.
Nah, everyone knows if I say I'm hungry, you got 20 minutes, then I'm not saying anything again. Why is Leah not talking? I'm hungry, like please leave me. Yeah, so we were doing that and I was like, hey, you just need to put a little bit of this and then use I had the hard brush in my bag because I already knew where they were going to come and play with me. Why did she get the straightener out? And I was like, whoa, how did we get here? And before I even, this is not even I was being like shy. No, I told her before I even got the chance to turn around, why had she already got the straightener at the front of my hair? And if anyone, the edges is the thinnest bit, right? The hair broke off. What? The hair was in the straightener and I was like, no. Oh, okay, all right. I think I went outside and I called my agent immediately and I was like, yo, they just burnt my hair off, bro. Like, this is crazy. I remember the photo and I was like, I don't ever want to see this. I don't want to see it. You lot are playing with me. Like, forget that. So I remember after that, I was like, look, this is coming, the thickest is coming out of my head. I'm not blow drying it. You're getting everything natural from the beginning.
So then you'll be so intimidated.
You're so intimidated. I used to get on set and had my hair already done. And I'm like, well, you tell me what you need to do. I've got the tail comb in my bag and I'm going to do it. I'm tired of this. I remember I was doing an editorial for some people that won't be named. Why did they have a whole hair team? I did my own hair, but they put their name. I was like, you couldn't braid. They were literally like, oh my God, how did you do it so fast? I just went to the back and came back out with it. And they're like, oh my God, who taught you that? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, should I teach you guys classes at this point?
It's literally your job.
Because to think that
it's their
black
job,
hair is like the last thing that they think about.
When it should be the first thing.
It should be the first thing. And I feel like it's unfair. Like, you guys will have a show where it's like everyone has a certain hairstyle, but because the black girl, you guys just couldn't be bothered to find someone that could do their hair, they've just got a different hairstyle. Like, why are we doing that?
Also, I think it's an issue with, they don't like to outsource. Like, no, just find someone that,
because there's black hairstylists, white hairstylists, Asian hairstylists that do afro hair in and out, and they have everything. Yeah. And when I used to find hairstylists like that, I'd like take their Instagram and their number down.
Because if God forbid I was booked on a campaign and I saw a hairstylist that I didn't know how to do my hair, I'd be like, you need to call her.
Call them.
Or you pay for my travel to go to her the day before and I'll come.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm glad that we were like that, because I feel like that it was very progressive to now, where girls are going on down the runway with cane rows and braids and all these things that we were even penalised for having at the beginning, which is crazy now that you think about it. But it's not a political statement, guys. It's just natural. It's just what you do. It's just normal. We have to get comfortable with ourselves.
I'm still going to do what I'm doing. So.
Literally.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. So modeling was obviously very successful for both of you.
Yeah.
And
somewhat. I said somewhat.
Somewhat.
Honestly, I feel like when I was younger, there was more things that I wanted to do. But now, in hindsight, I'm like, that was just not that deep. That was purely for status. Like, let's be honest.
Do you
status?
Or whatever it was.
I'll be real.
Money.
Yeah, the money.
So were you ever in love with modeling, or did you fall out of love with that, both of you?
I enjoy the act of modeling. All the politicals outside of it was what I didn't enjoy.
And is that kind of why you started pivoting away from it, in a sense?
I love modeling. Like, I will model every day if I have to. Like, there won't be a time in my life where I won't want to do it. And I don't mind the things that have come with it because I don't actually have to deal with them now.
Yeah.
It's just a routine of like expecting, oh, you have to go to this casting and there's going to be a queue of like 75 people and you're probably not going to get it. And the casting director's going to tell you you're too big or your knees are weird or some nonsense. But I love it and I'll do it forever. I want to be like that mature model when I'm like 50, 60.
They always look so good.
I love it. I've loved it since I started, but I was born like anytime there was a camera out, you would see me
Yeah.
front and center.
I mean, you've
Just
seen our baby photos at this point.
like,
in the back.
yeah.
I have seen the baby photos there. Confidence is a understatement. But I love it. Okay, let's pivot a little bit into somewhat of a little reflection. So, why don't we start with how do you both find joy these days?
Oh, that's such a lovely question. Joy, I feel like joy is in the small things. Like, even like the conversations that we have at night time, I enjoy that time. Even though we're chatting rubbish and we should be sleeping, I'm just like,
Long
these are just
asleep.
little things that just really just bring joy into your life. When I look around the room and I see my friends that are really enjoying themselves, and when we get to create together, and when things just seem like anything that's bad is just like not even in the forefront right now. Listening to music, having a coffee in the morning, like just really small things.
I love that.
I find joy in creating my playlists and like having them on repeat because they just make me feel like I'm not here, which is probably a bit morbid. What else? Being out and dancing and just really being consumed by the music,
Yes.
creating pictures, which is probably,
Creating pitches
yeah,
brings you joy.
so much joy. And I know that's how I was that person. I loved going to Staples at the beginning of the school year to go and get all my stuff, like
Cute stuff.
creating presentations and anything that is like uniform because it's the control freak in me.
Hmm.
It's put together, it's all in front of me. Someone can read it and know exactly how I want something done. That makes me happy. My Pilates, laughter, and just being around my friends. Like, I'll just be in the car with my friends, just like, I'm just happy to be in their presence. They just make me feel safe and like everything's all right because it is, even when it feels like it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. Both of
Thanks.
your answers, I like them.
Yeah.
You mentioned meditation earlier.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
I'm trying my best to quiet the 1,000 thoughts in my brain at once. And it was hard. It's hard. But someone explained to me the other day that even if you can only hear like the buzzing in the room, at least you're focused on just one thing and it's not your brain going at 100 miles per hour. So I feel like just training myself to like have that quiet in my mind, even though, I mean, my mind is just never going to be quiet. I just have to accept it. But being able to just focus in on one thing in my head
So
is
what
helpful.
method has like worked for you when it
This is
comes
not an
to
ad, but Fit Mind. There's an app called Fit Mind, and it's like a guided meditation. And like the guy will speak a little bit, and then it will just be silent. And yeah, it's just easier when it's guided, I feel like, and you can build up. There's different modules, different focuses and stuff, so you can choose where you want to start at. And yeah, it's been definitely helpful.
nice? We're gonna hire you for a pitch deck for this potential ad revenue we're gonna get. Um,
You know, I got you.
yeah. David, can we get in contact with him ASAP? I'm just playing. Okay. How do you, it sounds like um you don't deal with much self-doubt, either of you.
I
Or
do.
yeah, I know there's a lot of confidence, but behind that there must be some self-doubt. So how do you deal with that? How do you work through it?
I just remind myself that there's never been something that I've wanted that I've never had. Like, not one thing. So it's just a matter of time because the older you get, the more, the bigger the things are, the more expensive the things are. And I think when you're younger and you're kind of like, I want this and I want this, it's just like your parents are giving it to you, or it's like you're stumbling into them. And now I'm a grown woman. It's like I actually have to get these things for myself. So it's not even ever a matter of self-doubt. It's a matter of when. What else can I do to get that and to have what I desire? I doubt I let the people that I love when they have their concerns with me, I let that in a lot because they matter the most. And if anything is deemed as wrong in their eyes, that's a big issue for me. Because then I'm like back to the drawing board. I need to rethink how I go about this because I can never lose that. But still, what Manna wants has to come first. So I just have to,
Yeah. Laser
focus.
focus. I really like this quote, which is done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
And I would love to know how you strike that balance between perfection and efficiency. And maybe we'll start with the true artist herself, who self-described.
Honestly, I feel like I even started making the kind of art that I make now to get away from trying to be a perfectionist. Because when I first started, like, you're like, oh, sketch this person or something. I'm like, why can't I just get this right? Like, and if it's not perfect, I would never show anyone. And then it's like, well, how can you be an artist if no one knows you make art? You know what I mean? So it's just like being a bit more free, just being free with whatever is like coming through your emotions at the time and being able to express it, whether it's writing, whether it's painting, and also just knowing that there's only one of you, that there's never going to ever be someone else that's like you. So even if you draw a dot on a piece of paper, it's only your dot. If you do one line in a song, it's your line. Just like really having the strength in knowing that you're the only person that can do what you do. And at that point, yeah, it's perfect then, isn't it? Because if it wasn't perfect, then no, if it didn't exist, I don't know, it's just weird. What is perfection when you really think about it? It's subjective. Because if I say, okay, this is the end of that painting, I could keep going for the next 10 years and be like, oh no, but it's not perfect, it's not finished. But it's finished when I say it's finished.
So what point? I love that you said that. At what point do you say it's finished?
When I'm tired of it. And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes when I'm tired of it, and sometimes when I'm like, this is what I came to do and I done it. I'm done with it.
Do you put the piece out either way?
I actually have before. Honestly, there's a lot of pieces that are just like in a corner somewhere that maybe I haven't even finished. But sometimes I look at them and I'm like, maybe you are finished. Maybe just not to what I had the expectation for in my brain. But then also seeing other people's interpretation of my work is just like very funny. Because
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I see this, I see that. And I'm like, I wasn't aiming for that. But I'm glad that you saw that. I'm glad that you got to get that from this.
It also, I feel like it's a conversation, like the feedback, and you don't have to look at it this way, but I think sometimes the feedback guides you to your next part of,
The feedback
the
is
next
part of
piece
the
that you do,
art.
or the next, the
Yeah.
next, thing that you're creating.
Definitely. I'd love to do like an exhibition where I come as like incognito and just hear what people, well, like I'm in a room and I hear what everyone's saying without me being there and just see what the feedback is. It's cool to hear everybody's opinions on your art.
Yeah.
Even though, because when you make art and you just make it because it's your expression, you don't have that thing where it's like, oh, I need to impress people. So I don't really care what people have to say. I'm just more intrigued by what they have to say. So therefore, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's not for you. It's for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you have anything to add to that?
I just think perfection is just everything's perfect because everything's imperfect. So then really and truly it just is what it is. And at the end of the day, like you'll drive yourself mad. You just have to say, I'm perfect as I am. So what I'm doing will be perfect as it is. Once I'm happy enough with it, that's it. I'm key on, is that finished? And by finished, I mean, is it well done? It needs to be perfect. It needs to be well done. And sure, this room is perfect to me. But it's not perfect. It's just very well done. It's well decorated. The placement is great. Do you see what I'm saying? I think it's more just about your perception. Like, how are you looking at this? Just change the narrative.
Well done versus perfect. Yeah.
Every time.
That probably helps with efficiency.
Oh, listen, something. Come on.
I feel like also when something is well done, even if it's not to your taste at all, you can just appreciate it. You can appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
A couple more questions, which is when you think, or if you have thought about this life and your legacy in this life, I'm wondering how you think about that, and specifically how you maybe want to be remembered.
I think about my biggest thing is I just want to leave a home in a couple different countries for my family to go to, and that is just their safe space in that place. That's their hub. They can create, they can chill out there. My art, my furniture's in there. I designed it so you will enjoy yourself. And I want it to be left as like when I'm not here, I want everyone to just remember like how Manna made them feel. Like, did Manna make me feel safe? Did she like love me? Did she tell me enough that I am actually incredible and really important? That's it. Oh,
I'm gonna cry.
I love that. I think you said something. I don't know if you tweeted it or you posted it, but it was like, or it might have been on your Twitter. I don't know. But you said something like, "If I love you, you're gonna hear it every day." Something like that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So cute. I was like, I know I'm gonna cry today. I just knew I was gonna cry today.
a mess.
Yeah, I feel like it's less of a legacy, more of just an impact. Like, I just want people to remember what I gave to them, what I offered up to the world, how they felt when they saw my expression, even if they didn't hear it, what they saw, if it inspired them to have their own form of expression. Like, I always think about like children. And like I'm so inspired about how they create without having any kind of outside like sources. Like kids will do it. They'll make the head square. They'll make it triangle. Like when I was younger, I used to make all my characters like square, and the teacher would be like, "Why are you doing that?" I want to be different. I just wanted to have something that was outside of
Instead
everybody
of a stick
else.
figure.
I always think of just like having like a space, a safe haven for kids to come, or like even like 21, like you know that age where you're just kind of figuring out what you want to do, but you're not really sure. Your parents telling you should go to uni, and like they're just not really sure, and just have like a music section, like just a form of expression for them to really build themselves. Because I really do believe that when you have a creative expression, like it builds your character a lot, and it helps you to navigate the things that you might not want to do.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be very beneficial. But yeah, just having people express themselves in whatever way they see fit.
I love that.
Yeah.
I wish I had a tissue for you, by the way. I don't have one.
This is not my first rodeo.
It sounds interesting. Like my observation of that is both of you um, kind of shared that you basically want to build House of 73, really. Like something
For the youth,
physical,
for everybody.
something for youth, something for family, but centered around creativity.
Yeah.
And kind of empowering and providing the tools for those things to exist. That's really beautiful. That means like, to me, that just means that the work that you do every day is really tied back to your mission, that North Star. So I love that. Rapid fire.
Oh,
We're gonna
wow.
pivot
Okay.
real quick.
God.
It's not too wild. Don't worry about it. But if you're ready, we're gonna change the mood a little bit. Just
Okay.
end on a happy note.
Happy.
Okay, why don't we start with the musical artist?
Okay.
Well, I guess both of you are musical artists, so forgive me, Leah. But what are you listening to at the moment? What's like a track or an album or something that's on repeat? Rapid
I Wish
fire.
You Roses.
Rapid
I
fire.
Wish You Roses by Kaluch.
Such a good song.
So good. I love
So good. When it hits, that first part, it's like
It's just so good.
the moment I heard that, I was like, "Yep, song of the year." Song.
Yeah.
No,
So
it's
good.
so good.
Yeah.
You know what it is? I know the name of the song. I don't remember the name of the artist.
What's
Yeah.
the name of the song?
It is. Oh God.
Change-
I'm sorry. It's annoying me because I'm like, I could literally sing the song.
I know what she's gonna
right now.
say.
Do
She's gonna say "Loyal" by Chris Brown and Tyga. What are you gonna say?
Omar,
Is
please don't play
is
with me
is
ever in
Tyga
your
on that one?
life.
No, that's just Chris Brown.
Loyal.
I think he was on that one. God
don't remember.
forbid. Oh,
That is definitely not it.
Oh,
I'll tell you
Well,
that for free.
I'm just
But there's
messing with
this
you.
song called Orange Wine. I don't know how to pronounce the name of the group. It's like Oshko,
oh.
something like that. But just a
Okay.
lot of like instrumental stuff and just
I was joking
whatever
about the
I'm
loyal
feeling.
thing, by the way. But
We
I'm
know.
gonna listen to that song now. Thank you.
We're gonna get a snippet of you dancing to that at the end.
At the House of 73 block party. Come on.
Come on now.
A movie you'll never get sick of.
Eat, Pray, Love.
I thought he was gonna say Harry Potter.
Oh, well, listen, that's.
Harry Potter.
I watch that every week, back to back,
Every week.
basically. Knows me home. What can I say?
Yeah, I know. There was no judgment in my eye roll over there.
Every week.
Leah, what about you?
A movie. I'm like, is it a series? Because honestly, I watched Sex and the City for the first time, and I feel like I could watch it over and over and over again. Is it productive? No, but yeah.
Okay. Sex and the City. I love it. Eat, Pray, Love. Y'all are so wholesome, huh?
Week.
I'm trying to think
Favorite
of
thing
whatever
about
pops
each
in my
other.
head.
She's so funny. She's so funny. She's hilarious. She's actually not right. She's so funny. Like, I'll be mad at Leah and I'm like, I can't be bothered because she's going to turn this into a joke. What? What's the problem?
Honestly, manners directness, because I'm direct in a way that is different, but sometimes I'm like, you know what, nah, pop off for real, because you just need to say this. Like, as much as people might not like it, it's just like, look, you're gonna need to hear this somehow. Now you're like, oh wait, let me just, you know, someone walks in the room and you feel like you check yourself. Yeah, I feel like we're like that with each other. Like, okay, is she gonna think I'm mad?
Oh, I do have that thing. People definitely sit up a bit straighter when I'm in the room. My dad's that way too.
My dad's the same way. I used to hear him humming on the, like, he would hum. He's a very musical guy. Humming. I could hear him at the door. Jeez, Kingsley. And I'm like, what am I doing? What
Make sure you look.
What am I
No,
doing?
fix up, look
Fix
sharp.
up, man.
Right.
Don't act like you're just out here.
That was the fear, huh?
Not even fear. Just like, okay.
Put a pep in your step.
Yeah.
I love that. A moment you're most proud of
myself.
or one moment you're most proud of. Yeah.
Honestly, I think getting our booking agent out in New York, that was me just emailing them out on a whim and hoping for the best. I'd heard great things about them and I didn't hear from them for like 2 months. And then when I heard from them, they were like, yeah, we love you guys. We've been pitching you guys since we got your email, but we wanted to make sure. And things worked out. So that's definitely
very, very grateful for that and for them. Shout out 4 a.m.
Honestly.
Something I'm really proud of. I think being the most introspective I've ever been in my life. Like really thinking like, okay, you don't work like everybody else, but how do you work? And figuring it out. I'm proud of myself for that. I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what it is? I think I didn't know how different I was to everybody else until I became an adult and saw how everybody else behaved. And then I was like, oh, wait, okay, this is not the same. It doesn't need to be the same, though. We're going to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope. Dream collaboration.
But like music-wise or like just like...
Anything. Yeah. House of 73 or as individuals. It's got to be quick, though. This is rapid fire.
Mcleod.
Huh?
Mcleod.
Dope.
For sure. I think that'd be...
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of what that's?
Really and truly just letting us curate a whole event, do an installation for them, maybe like after a runway show, we do the after party, let us do the whole set design, music, everything. We shoot a campaign for them, us in the campaign.
I literally see it all every time we see Mcleod stuff, we're like, yeah.
One of my dreams was a Mcleod fragrance advert when I went into modeling. So I think House of 73.
I remember seeing the first Alien advert. Do you remember when she's in the forest? I was like, yo, that is
a bit of us.
Yeah.
That'll be
for sure.
That's dope. What about you?
I feel like Mcleod for the house, but also I think Dior. They've been working with a lot of artists recently. I'd love to do something cool like visually with them. Yeah.
It's cool. I love it. Okay, we're gonna end here. Favorite piece of advice or like words that you try to live by?
What if it doesn't have to be different? Like, it is what it is. Stop trying to change it because you can't. It's just, what if it doesn't have to be different?
I like that. I feel like, let me put this in a good way. Just going back to the beauty standard thing, just really instilling in yourself your own confidence and just knowing that nobody else can be you. I don't know the best words to put this into one sentence, but that is my advice to everybody. Get very comfortable with yourself, visually, internally, everything. Yeah. And don't be afraid to express yourself and experiment. Experimenting, don't put yourself in a box. That is my thing. Do not put yourself in a box in any realm.
Yeah. That's dope. Well, I hope this conversation has been as beneficial for you as it has been for me and for the folks who are listening. Thank you both so much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So blessed to know you and excited for your continued success and growth. And I can't wait to have a round 2 of this soon. We'll figure out when the right time is. But yeah, just grateful for you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Of course. Clapping. It's a wrap.